Life. I look like I need a bath. It's probably true, and it's probably a good job that I know that the picture's super fuzzy because my internet is shit. I'm living with like prehistoric internet. It's the sort of internet Middle Ages. And so if you're wondering why the picture's fuzzy, it's not your screen, it is my internet. It's going to get better. We're working on it. Give me a couple of months. Anyway, I'm going to answer just one more question from that community tab, and then I might start another one. And this person says, Tabitha, could you please talk about recovering on your own, living by yourself in another city without family and friends, when you also deal with depression and exhaustion? How do you keep fighting to be motivated when you're alone all the time? I'm really social and outgoing, but I haven't gotten lucky finding a really close friend since I moved to study at uni. Only some people here and there. And I have nothing to do each day other than keep doing my bad food routines, etc., which doesn't help with my depression. I don't really know how to find the strength to fight when I don't even want to be alive. Well, unfortunately, I know exactly how you feel. And the catch-22 here is that the reason that you don't have other things to do and other people in your life is because you've been filling your life with disordered stuff, and you've been filling your life with your disordered routines. And so I know that I got to a point where I knew I had to change something if I wanted to have more friends. And I knew that I didn't really have any interest outside of compulsive movement and exercise and obsessing about food and calories and nutrition and stuff like that. And I knew I sort of had to get out there and do other things. But the problem is that because I didn't have anything else to do, I'd just wake up each day and be like, well, I've got nothing else to do, so I may as well go to the gym and do my stupid disordered crap. But the reason that I had nothing else to do was because I filled every day with that stupid disordered crap. And so with most things in life, if you want something to happen, if you want something good to happen, you need to create space for that to happen. And this means that what I had to do is I had to create space for people and things, and I actually just had to create space for having a life, because I didn't have a life at all. And the scary part of doing that is the bit where I had to stop going to the gym and I had to stop filling my time with my stupid disordered stuff. And I just had to leave that space open, because if you create the space, if you stop going to the gym, if you stop whatever disordered food stuff you're doing, all of that stuff, if you create the space, then things will come in and fill it eventually. But you have to make the space, because when I was getting up every morning and spending all morning in the gym, I wasn't available for other people. I wasn't sitting in the coffee shop, maybe bumping into a friend. I wasn't in a space where I could, even if something social did come up, I wasn't available. So I had to make myself available, and I had to do something that was really terrifying for me. And that was just to create space with nothing in it. And the reason that space was terrifying for me is because I knew that if I wasn't doing something, I'd want to eat. That I wouldn't, like a lot of the time, all of the activities and my stupid routines and OCD crap was mostly there to keep me busy, to distract me from the fact that I really wanted to eat. And so that was another reason it was so terrifying for me to create that space, because if I didn't have my stupid OCD food and movement routines there to fill my time with and distract me from how hungry I was, I knew that if I just created that space, I would just want to eat. And I was hungry all the time, mentally most, but physically too sometimes. And when I was in the gym working out or walking like a maniac around university campus or cleaning or whatever the fuck it was that I was doing with my time, I could distract from that mental hunger. Or at least if I was out of the house, I just felt safer, because I was out of the house. I wasn't even near the fridge. So that felt safe. What I really struggled with was creating space and just being in the house with food. And that, because if I did that, my desire to eat would feel painful. If I was out walking around, my desire to eat wasn't as painful. If I was just sitting in the house, it was painfully difficult to not want to eat. And so that was the thing that really scared me. So I had to be brave. And I just decided, fuck it. I'm not doing it anymore. And I did create that space. And initially, I was right. All I really wanted to do with that space was eat. So that's what I did for a while. Just ate. And then, though, gradually, because all I was doing was sitting around eating anyway, I was like, well, I might as well go and sit around and eat in a coffee shop, or I might as well go and invite myself around for tea and cake at someone's house, because I'm going to be sitting around eating anyway, so I may as well find someone else to sit around and eat with. A lot of the reason I wasn't very social before was because a lot of the time being social involved sitting around and eating. And so I didn't want to do that. My idea of a social date with a friend was asking him to come for a walk with me. And when you live in Scotland, like I was at university, most of the time the weather's atrocious and people are like, yeah, no thanks, I'm probably just going to go and sit and have a coffee. And when I come, and I'd be like, no, I really want to go for a walk. Like, fuck, I wanted to go for a walk. Felt the compulsion to go for a walk. That's a different thing. So, like then I was kind of like, well, I know this group of people are going and sitting in this coffee shop and talking about whatever it is the group talk about, and they're probably going to be eating stuff, but what the hell, I'm going to be eating stuff at home, so I might as well go and sit with them and go and eat stuff. And then I just started naturally to become more social, actually social, as in sitting down social and eating social. And as that happened, I started to have a life. So what you got to do, you've got to be brave, and you've got to create space. All right, let's see how we're doing. Okay. I relate to this so hard. I was like that for so long. It was hard to do nothing and be around food. Yeah, Daniel. I think that when I was able to name it and be like, this is the reason I have to be like busy the whole time, is because I'm fucking hungry. And I'm scared that if I'm not busy, I'm just going to eat, and it's going to be painful to not let myself eat. And then I was like, oh, well, guess what? I guess I could let myself eat and see how that goes. And I did. And it was great. And it was fine. And it all worked out. Happy ending to that story. Okay, so everything's so relatable. I try and feel my time. Well, yeah, we all do it, I'm afraid. And everybody that's saying, okay, that's relatable. Oh, good. So change it. This is the hard part for a lot of people. It's like, oh, yeah, I know what I need to do, but I'm still scared to change it. I just really wish that I could give you 5 minutes in my brain now that I don't have an eating disorder, or 5 minutes in your own brain without an eating disorder. Because if you spent 5 minutes in your brain fully recovered, all of the worries and the doubts you have, and the should I, shouldn't I, can I, all of that stuff that you have around doing what you need to do in recovery, you just immediately be like, oh, fuck, no, I'm totally doing that. Because it's such freedom. It's so wonderful to be able to wake up in the morning. And yeah, like I still have shit to do. I have a job. But aside from, like the job is one thing. A job is something I do. A job isn't me, it isn't my life. It doesn't dictate me. Whereas my eating disorder absolutely did. I was just like a slave. I wasn't anyone. I was just an eating disorder. I was just spending every day doing an eating disorder. And I had no freedom. And if I could just give any one of you a taste of what it feels like to actually have freedom for that, and be able to wake up and be like, what do I fancy for breakfast? It really is that fucking simple in my brain in the morning. And yeah, I worry about shit, but it's work-related shit. It's not food-related shit. And that's so wonderful to actually worry about stuff that I should be worrying about, not food and exercise. All right. I'm very far in my recovery. I feel like when I'm home, not doing much, I tend to be more in tune with my hunger. And I'm really busy. Hunger catches up with me later and I feel okay to eat more later. Definitely. Yeah. And that's why I think a lot of us just are compulsively busy, because it is so much easier to ignore your hunger. And you have to be aware of that even when you're in recovery and even when you're far into recovery, because sometimes that can trip you up and it's not even intentional. But just be aware of it. And what you can do, because sometimes it's unavoidable being busy, but just be aware of it and sometimes sort of be like, all right, I'm going to stop and check in for a second. Take snacks with you to work, whatever. All right. Someone says veganism as unhealthy way of eating. I think that's just a statement. I don't even think that's the question, is it? That seems to be that person is making a statement. You guys, if anyone's seen my blog, you know my thoughts and all of that. Oh God, it's a can of worms. I'm not going to go there tonight. I can't deal with that tonight. Okay. What are the best things a caretaker that doesn't understand the disorder can do to support someone in recovery? Well, I think that pretty much depends on the individual. If it was me, if I was the person in recovery, a caretaker couldn't really do jack shit. I was just so anti any help because I was an asshole. If you're not anti any help and you're actually willing and smart enough to work with people that are trying to help you in recovery, then I think that you, as the person in recovery that's driving your recovery, should be the one to say what it is that other people can do to help you with, keeping in mind you can't let your eating disorder be in charge of that. So you actually have to work to advocate for your actual self, not your eating disorder self, when you're telling people what they can do to help you, which means a lot of the time you're going to be telling them things that your eating disorder doesn't want them to tell you, like things like, hey, so you know when I say that I'm full and I've eaten enough food, I'm actually not, and you should push me to eat more because I'm probably not full and I probably do need to eat more food. Like your eating disorder would hate you for saying that. But that's exactly the sort of thing that you should be coaching people who are trying to help you in doing. I hope that answers the question. Okay. It's my birthday today. Last year I didn't have a cake. Today I did. So at my friend's 40th birthday at the weekend, surprise party, and I swear that they had the most delicious cake I've ever eaten in my life. It was like chocolate, salted caramel. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. Yeah, really, really proud of you. Well done. I hope you ate a lot of cake, not just like a little bit, because you've probably got like a lot of birthdays of not eating cake to make up for. So you have to have extra cake. All right, one more. I'm overweight BMI with a diagnosed eating disorder. And whenever I tell people, I feel I'm making it up because I don't fit the stereotype. Am I making it up? No. I've spoken about this a lot. I did a whole podcast on atypical anorexia. If you haven't listened to that, probably actually should do, because I think it might help you out. I did a whole podcast just about my thoughts on atypical anorexia, which I don't think is atypical at all. I think it's actually quite common. I think that atypical anorexia is actually more common than normal anorexia. I just don't think people get diagnosis. And I really hope, Lisa, that that's going to change and that people start to understand that a person's physical appearance should not be a diagnostic tool for an eating disorder. Or it shouldn't be a criteria. Anyway, because I've known lots of people in larger bodies that are more fucking disordered than I ever was. Like, really, really obsessively, compulsively exercising, restricting so much food. And they're just because they're naturally in a larger body. And so their version of energy deficit doesn't take them into a super skinny body. It takes them into a smaller body than they should be, for sure. They don't get diagnosed. And that means they don't get help. And you know what? The hardest bit and the most fucked up bit of all of this is not only do they not get diagnosed, But they go to the doctor, therapist, dietitian, and they get told like, oh, well done for exercising, well done for restricting your food, you should do it more. Whereas like I, in my skinny state, would go to the doctor and I'd tell the, and they'd be like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't exercise as much. Some of them, not all of them. And they'd be like, you should eat more food. They're the same person in a larger body that's doing the exact same, demonstrating the exact same actions of restriction and compulsively moving, could go to the same doctor and be told, yeah, you should restrict more actually, just because of the size of their body. It's so messed up. Mental health and physical health field. Anyway. When I say to my therapist, I want to challenge myself and be able to eat without guilt, her response is, we're not there yet. And I should stick to my meal plan and focus on eating safe meals at the moment. Do whatever the fuck you want. Your therapist is not your boss. Your therapist is not your mother either. Not that any of us probably do what our mothers tell us to do. Do whatever the fuck you want. You want to eat more food? Eat more food. It's your body. Like, what the hell? You're actually being dictated to by a therapist as to what you should and shouldn't eat. That is fucked up. I do not think that person should be an eating disorder therapist. I don't know this therapist. I can't go into that. But I'm just going to say, it's your life. You should do whatever the fuck you want, I think. Right. This is one more. Paulie. Hi, Tabs. I feel that if I eat unrestrictedly, I will eat all day like 10,000 plus calories. I'm scared. Is it normal to eat that much? Yes, do it. We all do in recovery. Get over it. Get on with it. All right, guys. Lots of love. Maybe talk to you tomorrow. Bye.